Well, good evening, folks. Susan reporting here. I just want to talk about this pride that we feel as human beings. There is the pride that people feel because they're a certain status in life, or a certain race, or a certain tribe. That's all natural human behavior. Excuse me. It's a little too bright, but I've got to wake up. Hold on. It's all natural human behavior to instill pride in your children. Football players feel proud of being from a certain team. If they didn't feel that pride, they wouldn't perform as well. When you graduate from a certain school, you're proud to be from that school, from that university. If you didn't feel that pride, then you wouldn't perform as well in your academics and in your sports. When we are part of a home, a household, or a family, you're proud to be from that family. You're proud to have that name, or to carry on that legacy, whatever it is. When you own a business, you're proud of your business. If it was your parents' business or your grandparents' business, you're proud to carry on the family name and to have a good reputation for your business to live on, and hopefully pass it on to your children. Well, God wants us to be proud of being His children, but not proud in the way that we use the word pride. Because I think I'm going to change it to glad. Because pride is a very strong word, and people associate pride sometimes with arrogance, and that's not what God wants. So when these kids are removed from their parents by DHR, not to be returned, the children don't know where they belong. They don't know who they are. They don't know what to do. And all of this is wrong. It is anti-American, and it is anti-human. It's not a natural thing. So DHR has managed to brainwash our society into thinking that we need more foster parents, we need more adoptive parents, because that makes them money. It's like somebody flattening your tires and then telling you, I can sell you some tires. Or stealing the tires from the neighbor, flattening your tires and telling you, I can sell you some tires that they have taken from somebody else. DHR, the people on the top, most of them are Caucasian. I'm talking about the Alabama DHR here in Montgomery. The top people are Caucasian. They look very regal, with their blonde hair and blue eyes. And everybody in DHR, with the exception of maybe 2% of the people working in the Mobile DHR, are Black Afro-Americans. It could be demographics, but I don't think so. It's just a way to put black people to work. And this excludes the police officers, the security officers, because security officers will do that kind of job anywhere where there's security needed. Our security officers and police officers, firefighters, and public school teachers are underpaid. Yet we spend so much money on war, not just physical war, where they teach people how to throw a grenade, how to kill the enemy, how to shoot a gun, how to shoot a bazooka, and all of these weapons, how to push the button to for that bomb. I'm not talking about just this kind of war. I'm talking about psychological warfare. See, Dr. Martin Luther King once said that he had been called maladjusted by someone who apparently was talking psychology. And he said, I want to be maladjusted. And you can listen to his speech for yourself. But these are not things that they teach you in college, and these are not things that they teach you in high school when they teach you history and about Dr. Martin Luther King. He was murdered by our own government. Our own government will kill its own president, like JFK and his brother Robert Kennedy, because they were against the war in Vietnam. The soldiers in Vietnam, and we know because that's all out in the open now after the fact, that the soldiers were experimented with psychologically. They were tortured, both the Vietnamese and the American people. There were like tapes out there of like ghost-like tapes, so that these soldiers would think that these ghosts were out there to kind of freak him out. So if we have the ability now to do things with holograms and much more than just audio, and we've been doing research on the brain and research on human growth and development, they can very well use all of the technology that they have available to them to mess with your mind. And when you overcome their testing, they despise you to the core, to the point where they will take your child away from you and torture your child in your face. Now, I have complained about everybody and their brother being allowed in my house without my inviting them. See, in the Bible, it clearly says that certain people are going to be left out. And these are the people who practice witchcraft and such. See, when I lived in Mobile, my friend told me that his ex-girlfriend had done some voodoo on him. This is something that's real. People will practice witchcraft, otherwise known as voodoo here in the South, in Louisiana, and in the South, witchcraft in the Gulf Coast and especially in Mobile, I saw in my face. Okay, people, and there are people from Cuba who have told me that I had a coworker from Cuba who told me that they do witchcraft over there, Santeria. People from Haiti, people from Africa, all over the world. And then you will have people from Greece who will tell you that they have a little amulet called, it repels the evil eye. And it's like a little blue eye. And they use that in Greece a lot. And throughout Latin America, they will use different amulets. And God also says in the Bible, you're not supposed to be doing that because you're faith. But people do it anyway because they're aware of witchcraft. See, when our intelligence community allows everybody and their brother to enter someone's home, whether they're guilty or not, that's the equivalent of murdering that family. Because you're letting everybody and their brother come in there, steal intellectual capital, be entertained, and mock. And what is a reality to them is a game. And their game becomes your sad reality. See, I've never aspired to be a politician. That has never been the desire of my heart. What I love the most is being a mom. You know, since I was a child, I used to play with my little doll and my little keys. And I had real keys given to me as a child. I was allowed to play with real keys at my godmother's mother's house. And I used to go shopping. And I used to get in the car, put the baby in the car, and go shopping. And then I was just a child. I remember being 3 and 4 and 5. And I used to play that I would wear high heels. And I used to put my feet in high heels, my godmother's high heels. And I would get into her cosmetic bags and put on lipstick and blush and whatever I could find. Because I enjoyed being a female. I enjoyed being a mother, even as a child. And I enjoyed having keys in a car. So when you take my son away from me to torture him in front of me, or you invade my home with your energies and your envy, because not all of you are envious, but some of you are. Envious not of my poverty, not of my being humble, not of my being happy with less. No. Envious of my fertility. See, it was brought up to my attention by Miss Miller when, this is right before I lived with her, that she so much desired to have a child of her own with her husband, but they ended up adopting 2 children. And she brought this up to me in a way that you could see. It was like payback. When my son was taken by DHR, she said, "Let DHR do what they need to do, Susan." And then she brought up that she had always desired. When I offered her money to stay in her place, she said, "No, save it." And had she agreed to have a background check, which I'm sure she already had with the state, because she was involved in that industry, in the adoptive foster care industry. She adopted both her children, and she was taking care of a grandchild at one point, homeschooling him. So I'm sure she had to have, her and her husband had a boys' home for boys, for troubled boys. So I knew that she had to have had a clearance for that. But she said, "Well, I don't want to have a background check." So it was between her and Miss Mack, it was like an agreement, like a win-win situation, so that it appeared in court that I wasn't cooperating with Miller's. Because why? Miss Mack said I wasn't working. When I was clearly working, I was making my videos for the first time in my uniform when I worked at the hotel. And I was being scheduled days and nights and days and nights and days and nights and weekends. So to me, my son was taken to justify that kind of a schedule so that I would be available to the corporation at whatever their needs. So, we talk about pride and be proud of your brown skin, which Dr. Martin Luther King was instilling in his people because his people were being brought down. So I'm here to tell you that, because I'm speaking to you all, people of all colors, that if you're going to teach your child, be proud of your brown skin, be proud of your curly hair, be proud of your brown eyes, be proud to be black. Why is it not okay to teach somebody, be proud to be white, be proud to have blue eyes, be proud of your fair skin? Because tribe people, they will instill these things in children, but not in an arrogant way, as if you're superior to others, but rather be happy with who you are, be happy with what you have, be happy with this earth and all of that it gives you. What happened is the Caucasians came with the slaves and just wanted to be superior to all. So that's why it's not okay, I guess, or socially acceptable to say out loud, be proud of your silky hair, be proud of your white skin, be proud of your light eyes. So now, with that being said, Black lives matter, but white lives matter too. Hispanic lives matter. Native American lives matter. All lives matter. See, police officers aren't all bad, as the media is portraying. The media is reading a script, the mainstream media. And it's like repetition, 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 so that it can get into your brain. And this is how they brainwash people. So, if the media is telling us that these cops are killing black people here and there and there and there, we are not hearing how many cops die every day. But maybe we did in the past, trying to frame black Afro-Americans, targeting black Afro-Americans. But black Afro-American killed a cop. Black Afro-American killed a cop. Because that's all that you would see in the paper. Especially in Mobile. When you open up the local paper, you don't even have to open. The top pages are black Afro-American kids going to jail. It used to be. I don't know about anymore. But it's what happens. It's like this, you know. So, are we not tired of being brainwashed? We need to think for ourselves. I like to listen to a good pastor talk about God, because here I'm thinking, this is right. This is right. Or no, this is a phony. I can see right through them, because I'm not a religious person. I respect other people's religions, and I like to talk about God from their perspective, but I'm not a religious person. And I'm not a public speaker. A professional one, anyway. So when I hear a pastor talking, and I'm thinking, yes, this is good, this is good. And then they'll say something, and I'm just like, that could be taken either way. So it's okay, because I'm sure that what I say can be taken either way. This pastor yesterday was saying, see, Satan, or the devil, has been studying Christians for a long time. You know, people, Satan has been since the beginning of time. You know, God created all creatures, and God created all. So don't tell me that Satan has been studying Christians for a long time, because we're all studying one another. So who is Satan? Do you think that Jesus Christ is one single man that's going to come back and return? When it tells you clearly in the Bible that we are the body of Christ with different parts. Until we all see it, we will begin to walk in the way. Because we have to have all members of the body in order to walk in the way. Christianity is not something that was promoted by Jesus. Jesus was a Jew. You know? And he was crucified by all. Not just Jews. Are we still not today crucifying one another? Yes, we are. And then we take somebody's child, like my son Alexander. You take my son and you sacrifice him, and you demoralize him, demoralize me, because you want to see how much I can take. This is not Christianity. This is just right down morbid. Christians today are very hypocritical. That's why there are so many people turned off by God and godly things, because of these so-called Christians here in America, with their Puritan style and their religiosity and their hypocrisy, and all of the child molestation and child rape and child trafficking and all kinds of dysfunctionality that goes on within the churches. People get turned off by that, and they're just like, you know what, I don't believe in God, because obviously there's no God. That's all propaganda. That's all for them to keep us under their thumb. Well, I'm here to tell you that there is God. I have seen my Father. I have seen his eyes and his mouth, and we have already been forgiven. But we have to be the believing men and women. If you don't meet me at the cross of Christ, God shall not have mercy on you. We have to meet at the cross of Christ so that he can raise us from the dead. It's already happened, but you have to recognize it. Otherwise, we cannot stand on that mountain and escape through the valley and be raised. All of these things happen simultaneously, even though it already happened and it will happen. This is why Albert Einstein studied space-time and light. I'm not a physicist. I am not a genius. I am just telling you what has been brought up to my attention. So I told Alexander yesterday when I saw him, because I took some photos of his legs. I told him, Alexander, that lady right there, that caseworker, she's a liar. She is blind. And these people that get paid to represent the children in court, they're liars. Our very own government kills its own politicians who speak up against all of this criminality, like Nancy Schaefer. Because I asked the caseworker, I said, my son needs to see a doctor, and I need to know what skin disease this is and treat him with the right medication at the right time through the right route in the right dosage. And she said, well, Miss Valerino, you know what happened the last time you were at the hospital. Remember that incident? That's the brainwashery. Because she was communicating to me that day that my son was staying with a single man. This is a single older gentleman who had cancer. So if, according to our judicial system, kids are placed with the healthier parent, why on earth would our DHR be purposely placing children, instead of with their rightful moms, with a single older sick gentleman? You tell me. So I was upset. They didn't have to escort me out. I escorted myself out. And then she's here with her brainwashery. Oh, remember, because she's always on the phone like this. She's half blind. I mean, she took a photo of me and Alexander and Jacob. And she had her glasses on, and the photo was still blurry. That's how blind she is. She doesn't have any children. She doesn't care about my child because that's a job for her. The more she says that I'm a problem, the less likely my son is going to be returned to me. The bonus that she makes to get her hair done, her nails done, her pays her car insurance, whatever she has to pay. She doesn't care. And this is how we spend our money. It's warfare against the family unit. And I figured out a way to curse without cursing. So I'm going to substitute the F word with the S word. Yes, because instead of saying F war, I will say suck war. Suck war. Like you suction with a vacuum cleaner. For those of you who'd like to study other people, slow motion. Like I was telling Alexander, I said, people here in America, because Alexander's not a football player. I don't dislike football. I don't have a problem, but I'm not going to be watching football 24/7 like some people here in Alabama. Okay? People are addicted to football. And it's not a problem, I guess, but it is. Let me tell you what I've seen. I've seen people literally mesmerized with football. Nothing else matters. That's a problem. Because God is a God of balance, and human beings need balance in their lives. You need to see that wife in front of you that's taking you out to dinner. Instead of wanting to park your butt by the TV so you can watch football while your beautiful wife is sitting in front of you. Hello? Wake up. Snap out of it. They're getting paid millions of dollars and you ain't. It's okay to do that on the weekends. Get together with friends every now and then. But you also need to spend time with your wife and children on the weekends because you work all week. What do you think? You think your wife doesn't need romance? That she doesn't need everything else? I'm sure. So anyway, I know that football is a big thing here in Alabama. And talking about football, I am not necessarily, I don't understand the game. I don't. I understand soccer, I understand baseball and basketball, but I don't understand football, American football. And Alexander was playing all sports until he was picked up by this system, corrupt system by the name of DHR. He was playing baseball, basketball, and soccer. And he was quite good at all of them. He enjoyed soccer, he enjoyed baseball, he enjoyed soccer the most, I think. Of course, he's Latino, you know, he's half Brazilian, half Panamanian. So, a lot of kids like soccer. A lot of kids like soccer and not football. So I'm not against the football industry. I'm just against people getting head injuries. But that's no reason to take kids away from moms. So anyway, with that being said, I know that these players get watched slow motion because of how graceful they are. So the whole thing is really to replay, to watch people you know, because we can do that with anything. We can watch somebody slow motion taking a bite out of that hamburger. But unless you are sexy and visually appealing, it's not going to look very pretty. If you're going and dripping and talking and lettuce between your teeth. But if you go, you see. So, when you say that Satan has been studying Christians for a long time, Satan was born before you. He wasn't born, he was made. And you study one another. We study one another. I have never taken any footage from anyone from y'all's privacy of your homes to sit there and play over and over and in slow motion. I wouldn't want to see you eating in the privacy of your home. I would not want to see you bathing your children or spanking your children or disciplining your children or making love to your husband or your wife. I would not want to see that. I don't even like to see that in a movie. I don't like to see nudity in a movie because what happens between the sheets, it's their privacy, their business. Because in real life, if we're watching something in real life, I wouldn't be seeing what happens between the sheets. I'm not going to deny that I have seen nudity, that I have seen pornography, and it's not because I so much desired. It was something that I had to see it to figure out, why do people watch this? It is so much better to invest in what you already have in front of you, your husband and your wife. Not to oppress your husband or wife, but usually it's the men oppressing the women, but to invest. And not just with time, but with finances. When you are sending the husband to an Operation Freedom overseas, and they're given a free laptop by the government. This was brought up to my attention, that all those people, this is what was said, all those people over there in Iraq are cheating on their spouses, men and women, with pornography on the computer. This is somebody's point of view. So, what is war for? So I say that the only war that I am pro-fighting is the war against lies, the war against evil. But we don't kill evil with guns. We kill evil with good. Capital G, capital O, O, capital D. Good. We have to remember that there were people before us and there will be people after us. And God has promised that He will always have a king in the throne of David. There's a reason why David begins with D and ends with D. David, David, David. There's a reason why the word river begins with R and ends with R. River, 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 never ending. I'm not making this up. So when you say that Satan has been studying Christians, there's more religions than Christianity, folks. I need the Christian community here in America to stop being so hypocritical. Need to understand that we are the body of Christ, all of us who believe. And until we all see it, that's when we'll begin to walk in the way. When Jesus, Jesse, us, Jesus, meet me at the cross. And God will have mercy on you. When He stands on that mountain, He, she, us, Jesse, with Jesse, because he's the root, Jews. Jesus was a Jew. Then the people will escape oppression, slavery, exploitation, which we are all guilty of, exploiting, oppressing, and enslaving one another. I know that myself and Alexander have been bought and sold, like we're your slaves. And we're not your property. See, this robe was given to me. I didn't choose this robe. It was given to me. I didn't even choose it online. And these are my favorite sandals I've ever tried. I know who I am. Do you know who you are? You are part of the body, as am I. We are parts of the whole. Let us stand on that mountain. Let us be lifted, raised. Let us recognize that we are children of God. And it's not just about black pride, or white pride, or Hispanic pride, or native pride, pride. We are all His children. So if we're talking about going to outer space, we're talking about going to outer space. Remember that everything is about circulation and rotation. Circulation. If our Earth didn't move, we would cease to exist, because the Earth is about balance, which is God's balance. Day and night, hot and cold in the different seasons. If we didn't have this balance throughout the Earth, we would die. Too much cold, too much hot. We are in His hands, the whole Earth. And the Earth moves because God so desires. If this Earth didn't move, we would cease to exist. Even the sun and the moon obey God, but we don't. I exclude myself from that, but we as a humanity, stubborn. Fighting one another about we are the best. It's not just black and white, okay? But within. So we're going to take America, for example. America, we're the best. We're better than Russia and China. Don't you think that they're thinking the same thing? We're better than those Americans. Of course, because it's called patriotism, nationalism, regionalism that is taught to the children in schools and in the homes sometimes. So they go fight for their country, for the cause that they don't even understand. Because not only are we limited by our nationalism or regionalism, but also limited by our culture and our language and our religion, which is not wrong. It is our right. It is something that we need to be proud of, but not arrogant about. There's a difference between pride and arrogance. I am proud to be black and white, because one day I wake up and my skin is tan and my hair is really curly and my nostrils are larger. And one day I wake up and my hair is reddish. It is very smooth. My skin is milky white. And my nose is refined. So you would be confused if you were I. I did not know what was happening. I was raised a certain way to believe that I was a certain race. And as I began to grow and develop on my own without any parental supervision, I began to see for myself that I am not just white. And I did my own research, the desire of my heart, and I found out that my father had Afro ancestry. And I was like, that explains. Now this comes together, because I wondered. And then I could see my grandmother's eyes. She looked kind of Asianish, and I was told that yes, there was some Asian, Peruvian, Italian background and some English, but the English wasn't English, it was Irish. All the way to the back. No English, just Irish. Italian, maybe, but far, far back. So far back. But I was taught, my name is Italian, and you're mostly, Italian, English, and Spanish. And I was thinking, there's got to be more than this, because I could see myself. And I said, no, racism is not good. It confuses the children. There have been cases of Caucasian couples having a baby, a biological baby that looks mixed. And the husband might think, oh, my wife cheated on me. And when they do the testing, the child is a biological child, but it comes from the ancestry. Or you'll see a black person, a black couple, with a child that's very light skin and light eyes, and you're wondering if this child is half and half, and it's not. It's their biological child. Alexander's father and his ex-wife have a child that looks Russian, Esther. She has the bluest of blue eyes, true blue, no contacts. She has the fairest of skins and the blondest of blonde. And neither father nor mother looked like that. But she's a biological child, and you can see her features look like her father. And some of her features, she looks like her mom. But that's from the recessive genes. So when you birth your child, you should not teach your child. Be proud in a way that you are instilling arrogance. But you have to be careful with the word proud. Maybe we should change it to glad. Be glad that you are human and God's child. Because if we cannot get along as the human race, those Chinese, those Americans, those Russians, and we've got these guns or these bombs pointed at one another with our grandiosity and our histrionic personality and our power. Just like we have physicists here, they have physicists there. Just like we have engineers and doctors and mathematicians, they have them too, because you're the human race. So if you cannot get along as the human race, how do you expect to get along with aliens in outer space? You answer that question, and then we'll talk, okay? When you think about it, you call me or contact me. But don't take my son Alexander to torture me so that you can see how much I can bear the pain and the torture. Because you and I are here in America, not in China or Russia. Okay? So if you're going to be American and you're going to tell me that in God we trust, let us use our money well and help the poor, the single parents who need it the most to raise their children right. And don't be a hypocrite. Because in our currency, it clearly says, in God we trust. When we join the military to serve and defend and protect the Constitution of this country, which includes freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of the press, freedom of expression, and many other freedoms and rights that we're violating in this country, when we raise our hand, so help me God, we say. So if the Russians infiltrated and messed up the presidential vote when President Trump won the presidency, then that means that our own national security agencies are either not doing a good job or they have the enemy within. But if you read in the Wikipedia, it clearly says that the CIA, it doesn't say it's clean indoor air. No, because that's my acronym, clean indoor air. Because green is going to be clean. Green money is going to be clean money. Yeah. So it says CIA. What does it say? It is a Central Intelligence Agency. It is a multinational agency that is for our national security. But it clearly says that it's a multinational agency. So if it's a multinational agency looking after our nation, okay. I'm confused. But anyway, I'm not. So if all of our central intelligence agencies or national security agencies throughout the nations got together, put our human intelligence, without stealing intellectual capital from your prisoners and other people that you study, I'm talking about your own God-given intelligence, folks. Put your heads together and think about how you would get along with aliens if you want to go to outer space. Yeah. Okay. Think about it. Call me. Thank you.